Hey, what's up, everybody? I have here a Monster Moto M1000. So what I'm doing here is going to convert it from electric to gas. Probably went ahead of myself a little bit already, but anyway, so kind of rewind a little bit here. You got 3 Phillips screws that go 1, 2, and 3 right there. Look just like this one. Sorry about the lighting. So you pull those 3 off. This is the cover that goes on there. Pull the cover off. Open up your battery box. I already went ahead and did that a while ago. What size is this? This is a... You're going to need a 13mm wrench. That and maybe, I guess, a crescent wrench. So you can undo both of them. Undo both. Sorry about that. I like to pull my terminals with pliers. I don't cut them directly off because I always repurpose all the electronics. It's hard to see, but I'll pull them out so you guys can see them. Those are the batteries. They're very swollen and pretty much junk at this point. They still hold the voltage, but it's not worth it. Anyways, that's the first step. And then this is the cover for the chain guard. Same deal. You'll have one Phillips here and another Phillips screw down here, and then down here at the bottom you're gonna have a 10mm. So just use a deep socket and an extension, and that should come right off. Once you take care of that, you're going to want to loosen up your chain tensioner. So you're going to need a 10mm wrench for the backside to hold. I can't get a good view back there, but anyways, the point is you have a 10mm in the front. I might be wrong about the back. It might be a 11 or a 12 on the back. Yeah, it doesn't feel like a 10. Okay, so I was way wrong about the tensioner on the backside. It's a 13. It fits slightly loose, so it's probably a standard size. But anyways, you use a 13mm wrench on the back side, and then a 10mm socket on the front. Once you loosen that up, then you're gonna use your 10mm socket to loosen up the tensioner bolt back here, or the nut. Run that out a little bit. Alright, so that's loose. Then you're going to need your Phillips screwdriver again. You're going to take off this Phillips screw right there. That'll loosen up your chain guard all the way. Alright, just bear with me a second here. Alright, so it won't directly come off at the moment, but once I remove the chain tensioner, it should give me enough clearance to remove the cover off. Alright, so that's loose. Tensioner's off. There's the tensioner. And then just slip out your cover. That's that. And now you can finally remove your chain. There it goes. And that's what I got for now. Bear with me a couple more minutes and I'll get to the next step. Okay, for your next step, it's going to be removing your electronics, or at least in this case, it's removing your hand throttle. You can keep your brake because you're going to utilize your brake lever. Even though it's electronic, you can still utilize it. Yeah, so for now we're going to remove the throttle, and it's a pain. I don't know if anybody has a better solution to it, but usually when I can't get these throttle grips off, so what I always do is just cut them off and order 2 brand new ones, and just go ahead and replace them. Or sometimes I might even get away with it, just slice it, put some glue on the inside, wire tape, call it done. But yeah, in regards to removing the electronics in the front, you got 2 more Phillips screws right here in the front. You don't have to remove them, but it makes it easier when you're trying to remove all the cables that go through the front fork. Should have done this earlier. Put the lighting on it. Put the flash on it. Gives a better view of everything. Okay, so that's that. They're zip tied in place. That comes off. Alright, let's see. I got more zip ties. These guys are good at using zip ties on everything. I mean, it's a stock bike, but still. Okay, that's off. That's off. Now, oh yeah, that's my Razor MX 650. It used to be electric, converted the whole thing to gas, stretched the frame, threw in a Predator to 12 motor. But yeah, that's another video. Okay, so that's undone. That's undone. Now, just gotta slice the throttle grip. And then from there, there should be, I believe, a hex. Yeah, there should be a hex screw down in there. Loosen that hex screw and it'll allow you to slide your electric throttle off. Okay, so I went ahead and sliced it. So now I can pull that off. Like I said, you can reuse this. Just put some, if you want to leave it on there permanently, I would put some JB Weld on the inside. Just not too much where it squeezes out or oozes out. JB Weld, and wrap it with some wire tape. You should be good. Or if you want to buy new throttle grips, by all means. Alright, so in order to loosen the electric throttle, you're going to need a 2.5 millimeter Allen. Just goes in there so you guys can see it. Turn it. And there goes your throttle. I like to salvage, like I said, I like to salvage all these parts. This electric setup's probably gonna go on my daughter's Mustang Power Wheels at some point. So yeah. Okay, now in order to remove your assembly, or at least that's what I call it, your motor, battery, speed controller assembly, you're going to need a 10 millimeter wrench at the top and then a 13 millimeter socket at the bottom. You'll have to do that in 4 places. So just give me a second. Sorry about the crappy video, guys. I'm not the type of person who has the time to edit and everything, but I just want to give you some basic instructions for those that are looking to do a conversion. And if you pay attention, this right here, it actually functions as a tensioner for the chain, now that I think about it, because this pulls straight towards the front wheel. when you tighten this nut right there. But regardless, you still have to remove it in order to be able to remove the motor assembly and whatnot. So yeah. Anyways, that's off for now. I guess I'll go ahead and undo this one as well while I'm at it. It's gonna take a while. Alright, there you go. Could have used my impact gun, but at this point, I don't know where it's at. Alright, finally. Okay, so that's off. You have a lot of hardware left after removing this. But if you're like me and you're a hoarder for parts, they always come useful at some point in time. I'm pretty sure it's going to be useful once I start converting that Power Wheels Mustang to electric. Okay, bear with me a second here. Alright, so I decided to just go ahead and flip the bike over because it just makes it more difficult. Makes it more difficult if I'm doing it the other way around, upright. And this way the bike's not flipping over on me. So, we got one off. We got 1, 2, 3. 3 more. You use a 13 millimeter at the bottom. And well, the bottom of the frame, and 10 millimeter on the top of the frame. Okay, you got all 4 studs pulled out. So now it has fallen off the frame itself. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out. Don't pull too hard. Still got some other wires in there connected. Not a lot of wires. It's just the brake cable. In order to access that, pull off these 4 Phillips screws. That should give you enough space to be able to access the brake cable for your electronic speed controller. And Phillips. Okay. Alright, almost there. Okay, so there's your speed controller. And then just gotta find your brake cable. I hate taking everything apart, but it makes it easier to reach the connector itself. Almost there. Yeah, these bikes are not that fast. They're like tops 15, 17 miles per hour. I think 15 if I'm not wrong. It all depends on the rider weight. But yeah, they're not. I mean, you have to worry about charging your battery all the time. The runtime tops is probably like 30 to 40 minutes. All depending too if you're running on concrete or asphalt, or if you're going off-road, you're definitely going to drain your battery. Okay, this is not cooperating. Okay, there it goes. That's that. Then brake cable is this connector right here, red and blue. That's out. See that? There you go, just in clips. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to put this back together, put it away in storage, and I'll come back to this at some point in time. Okay, now that that's off, Next step is going to be to remove the chain. The reason I say you have to remove the chain, that's because, well, it all depends. What it depends on is clearance in the frame with the motor itself. But normally with a number 35 chain that it comes with, it's too short once you go to mount your motor in place. So you'll have to replace it. You could either get a new one and some master chain links, or you can cut this one and extend it, but I usually just leave the chain aside, buy a new one, and make it to size accordingly. Okay, now for the rear axle, you're going to need a 14 millimeter in the back. I use a ratchet wrench, makes it easier. 14 millimeter on this side. Sorry, my phone's dying, so my battery's low. So yeah, 14 millimeter on this side, next to the brake rotor, and on the opposite side you're gonna use a 19 millimeter socket. So just go ahead and go at it. Okay, that's off. Okay, so it looks like you don't have to pull the bolt all the way through. I wouldn't recommend it either, because then it's just going to make it more difficult for you to put everything back together. Alright, so that's it. Chain is off. Now, be careful when you remove this, because I just dropped the spacer, which is this one right here. So, do not lose that. It's extremely necessary that you put that back in place. Otherwise, your sprocket's going to rub up against your frame, and you'll be able to tell. Alright, so I got the spacer and the bolt pushed all the way through. Now I'm just going to put the washer and the nut back in place. Again, guys, I'm sorry about the lighting. Oh, there you go. I got it plugged to my little portable battery. But yeah, that's hooked up. Alright. Alright, once you get everything squared away, this is what it should look like. Just gonna go ahead and clean this off a little bit. You can come across these on Facebook, Craigslist, etc. Person who owned this one, they said the battery wouldn't hold a charge. I checked the voltage on the batteries. The batteries still work. What I think their problem was that the charger probably just went out. Chargers are typically inexpensive, anywhere from like 20 to 30 bucks. But yeah, I mean, it's in really good shape. I was surprised. But still, I don't want to go back to the regular battery setup because they're fairly slow. Throw a Predator 212 engine on it, and you can roughly go anywhere from 30 to 35 miles per hour, depending on your weight as well. Okay. So, yeah. This is it for now. So yeah, now that the motor's pulled out, well, unfortunately, I have to wait for some parts. But mainly what I'm gonna need is gonna be a three-quarter bore clutch for the Predator engine, and then a brand new number 35, probably good 10-foot length. I'm not gonna use all 10 feet. probably 6 foot of it, maybe even less than that. That with some master links. Once that comes in the mail, I'll go ahead and upload a second video. Anyways, thanks for watching.